consistently as well. That's probably the best support that Dade can ask for here. And we're going to go into our second champs, like here, our last game of the evening, of course, as well. Vici on the blue side here for this one, M3 over on the red, and Zed banned out again. Respect still to Dade.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Zed, the best split pushing assassin, still left in the game, of course, with the Yasuo hits that went through. So just don't want to open the map up to Dade really being able to take it over and 1v1 anyone. So I do like the ban, especially given recent form that we just saw out of him. It probably is something good to take away.
Yeah, Jana there banned out as well, away from Mata. So a couple targeted bans here for the first few. And I like that you mentioned Yasuo. Dade has had a great Yasuo game, but with the changes to Infinity, not even just Yasuo. Yasuo's a little awkward now in this patch. And again, Dandy's wide. Getting banned away from Dandy.
Yeah, I know. We had a couple of really good conversations about how to get Yasuo to that 100% crit. Now it is much more difficult with the changes that came through from Phantom Dancer and Infinity Edge. And of course, Static Shiv just not being as attractive as an item. Still very easy to pick up. Gets rid of some of that upfront burst damage that Yasuo really relied on in the lane. So he is in a more awkward spot than he was. He used to have a very nice 3-item spike.
Yeah, he did. Here as we do have more bans coming through. Rumble is banned out there by M3, and I think I might have found the reason for the Vi ban here on Vici side. Rose actually back in the game. Dreams played last game, but Rose playing this one for M3.
Yeah, so Ro being subbed in, M3 using their substitute halfway through a series. So that's interesting. See if he camps the top side of the map as much as what Dreams did in that last game.
Yeah, and Ro was definitely known as the jungler that snowballed his soul in, as Dreams been playing for about 2 weeks or so in this lineup, but they do have an opportunity to sub here. Interesting that we see a jungle substitution. That's pretty rare, but that's what we've got. And Cassidon's going to be the third and last ban for Vici.
Yeah, and that was taken away from Master3. Correct me if I'm wrong, last game. Targeted probably Carry or Hotong there. So taking that way this time from Looper. Don't want to first pick it and just don't want to let it go through as one of those 2 power picks.
Yeah, I mean, Cassidon's so strong, but it is interesting to see the ban on the blue side. So going to keep that away, it seems like, for now. And M3 can have their last ban here as well. Nara, I believe, dropped through the picks and bans last game, but that was because Carry decided to take Rumble instead of Nah, and Lupa took Lysandra first pick. So we are going to ban Xerath here as a really interesting ban by M3. Definitely picking on her tongue there.
Yeah, they certainly are. And I think they're trying to push him onto the Azir pickup. Maybe Dade has something against that. Instead, they go for the Lysandra. That could be top or mid lane right there, and we saw the impact that it could have last game.
Yeah, and that opens up Dade to just take Azir here as well and say, hey, what you got left? Because not that much left here against Azir. And it's been a very good champion there for Dade. Rogue going to look at Jarvan and Morgana going to be the consideration here. And M3 doing a lot of hate drafting almost here in this game.
Yeah, they certainly are. And if they take away the Morgana, that leaves the Mata Thresh up, and we'll be happy to pick that one up. Probably even more comfortable with the Thresh than he is with the Morgana. So questionable, maybe once again using that Black Shield to try and get rid of some of the CC that comes through from the Lysandra.
I mean, we saw Mata just wreck Looper in a couple of spots with that Black Shield, so it wouldn't be too surprising. So it is Morgana there, and Jarvan, sorry, as well. Probably Rose champion there in the jungle. Very popular, very standard jungle.
Yeah, you would think that would be Ro in the jungle. Jarvan's just so strong. We actually saw Cacao, probably the first person to really put the jungle on farm this time around with the Jarvan. Flies through it when he wants to, especially with that Trailblazer. And he got very tanky very quickly. And Dandy back potentially to the Nidalee jungle.
Yeah, they're going to pick up Nidalee here on Vici, and Graves again for Vasily. So part of the winning formula there for the last game was, of course, Vasily's very strong Graves, and that does limit Candy's champion pool a little bit. Corki is available, but that might be a matchup he's not that comfy with, especially after last game. But if that is the Nidalee there for Dandy again, not too sure how I feel about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure how I feel about it. I really am not sure about the Nidalee pickup at the moment. I think that if you have very good CC in your top and your jungle, top and mid lane, you can make it work. But I just think that doesn't have that many tools. Has very good clear time and great early ganks, but then really is a linear champion. And if you get some hard engage, like, for example, the Jarvan that they picked it into does struggle late again.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Either M3 do pick the Corki up for Candy, so comfort there for him. And Dada going to go back to his champion, Azir. And again, with Xerath being banned, not very many good picks left here for Vatong. Even if he did play Nidalee or Lysandra, Dada's probably happy with that matchup. Yeah,
he certainly would be happy to take that one in there. And it looks like it might be Lysandra mid lane. And we said that if you have some CC, it can be good. And that is a lot of CC to round out Vici's lineup.
Yeah, we have seen Nidalee work in the full Poe comp. Cacao pulled that out today on his Nidalee and really went to town. Dandy has shown a lot of proficiency on Nidalee. He's a very mechanically strong player. So clearly understands what's going on, but again, needs some support. But Vici going to give it to him here. Dandy going to be set up in this game to carry much more than he was in the last one, and it is Naliona to round out Vici's lineup.
Yeah, and that is a huge engaged lineup with a very, I guess, Nidalee does so much damage in Cougar form at the moment. I think it's one of the most underrated things about her kit. It makes her an extremely strong duelist, and one of the reasons that I actually think that you can build second item, defensive item, and still do reasonably well with just some Magus enchant. So if you have all this damage going forward, and he's able to flank, get a good spear, and take out a priority target, assassin-esque versus poke, then I do like it in this team comp. I just think that overall, if you go for a very poke-heavy Nidalee, it is a very linear back and forward champion that doesn't have much flexibility.
Yeah, just curious to see how Dandy does this time around on the Nidalee. It will be him for the jungle. And Looper going to go back to another old favorite here. It is Maokai, so back to tanks for Looper in the top.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it to be that way. They have, once again, a very good AoE composition in their own respect here to take head-to-head. I guess this comes down to, right now, who can get around the map earlier, Ro or Dandy? Because if Dandy can really force the pressure on a high-damage jungler, we'll be able to put a lot of pressure down, whereas Ro on Jarvan will be relegated to, I guess, trying to stalk this Nidalee and affect the ganks with his CC versus his damage.
Yeah, and it's interesting here as well. One of the probably the biggest change between team comps this time around is that we have double AP again for Vici, but this time we got a tank for M3.
Yeah, we certainly do, and we'll look to see whether the Maokai can really affect the top lane in the way that he wants to. Nara is an extremely frustrating matchup for Maokai just because of the fact that that hyper means that your W after the first one hit really doesn't do much, that twisted advance once you get on top of people. And the bounce is such an, I guess, frustrating ability, especially if the minion wave's approaching.
Yeah, so, I mean, M3 have a lot of elements that made it work. Dade, again, going to go back to Azir and see if he can carry a game. Vici have mixed things up, but I feel like they've adjusted some of their draft from playing Nidalee yesterday, I believe, yeah, when they had the loss on it. So Vici with a win, of course, be happy to take at least 1 point, but really want both here.
Yeah, they definitely want to clear this out as a 2-0. I think that the more pressure you can put on Master3 at this point in the series, the worse that will be later on. They really aren't able to turn it on, and it will be interesting to see if Vici can keep him down.
Well, we'll see if they can. Let's get into the game. And welcome back for our last game of the day here. Week 5, day 2 of the English coverage of the LPL. Vici are up a game after winning in dramatic fashion with a Baron steal from Dandy and M3. Looking to fight back and take the points that are rightfully theirs in their mind here. Dade is back on Azir. He had a great game last time. Let's see what he can do this time around.
Yeah, certainly looking forward to seeing him taking that one again. He was up nearly 4,000 gold at one point in that game against Hetong in the mid lane. Played it extremely well, and you know what, Pastry Time, sometimes as a caster you get games that script writers couldn't have performed better, and last game certainly was one of them, and I'm excited to see what they can pull out this time around. Dandy on a very aggressive jungler, and I want to see if his vision control and his early pressure is as good as it was last game.
Yeah, because it was great on the Rek'Sai, like you mentioned. So we'll see what happens. Trinket Ward does pop down. They can't quite get the kill, unfortunately. Can carry in Dandy, but Dandy, we'll see what he can get done early on in the jungle. Back on a bit more of a carry jungle. Interestingly, this time, it was picked quite late in the draft, and we've seen a lot more success when comps could use Nidalee's very powerful, but kind of narrow ability and really make sure their draft can fit it.
Yeah, and I think the key was there. Wow, there's a lot of damage going down onto Dade.
Yeah, carry is just getting in there, using the boomerang there, actually putting him down to about half health.
Yeah, trying to mix it up as much as possible. Also trying to deny the early level 2, and wow, that is a lot of AP on Looper.
That sapling did a pretty absurd amount of damage. Yeah, a lot of flat AP there, 37 at level 1.
Yeah, he's got 37 AP coming out of the tree, so that's a fair amount of damage going to be done. Actually, double golems, or sorry, Krugs being picked up by the bottom lane here for Vici, and Dade actually wasn't able to back, so he's in lane with half health.
Yeah, it looks like he might have took up potion of the two that he started with. Vasily might have, though. We'll clean out the Krug there, get the big one. Going to take a little one as well. We'll be a bit late to lane, but we'll have an edge here. And Vasily going to get most of that experience. Not all of it for the level 2, but most of it.
Yeah, and Ro and, Dandy both starting the big buff, so not getting that extra damage out of their Gromp or Krugs there, and will actually mean that they are a little bit lower when they do their route. Of course, Nidalee completely fine because she has that heal.
Yeah, Nidalee very good in the jungle. That's one of the reasons she's so good on this patch, is that she kind of blitzes through the jungle pretty swiftly. Back down the bottom though here. Vasily Mata have hit level 2 now as well. Candy Love City, got to be a bit careful here.
Yeah, and I want to see if in this bottom lane, Vasily is able to bully a Corki the same way he was able to bully a Sivir last game, because he really played a long way up and is doing so again. But you have to think once that level, wow, 6 comes through. Those rockets will be able to clear out the creeps relatively easily.
Yeah, and Corki Graves is a pretty tenuous and explosive matchup, I feel like. Too short range, he carries with a lot of burst. Corki obviously unlocks his whole kit once he hits his ultimate, and that gives him a lot more options. But Vasily, as far as Graves goes as a carry, can't really be beaten as far as aggressive early game damage goes in a lane.
Yeah, and that's how you like to see Vasily play. Up in their face, nice and proactive. So he's doing a good job so far of dictating flow of the bottom lane. And with a support like Marta, that makes it extremely potent. Nidalee, the other thing about Nidalee is she does dragon so quickly early in the game with the way that her abilities reset. So we'll be looking to see if he goes aggressive here. Maybe even invading onto the blue.
Yeah, might just take it away. He doesn't quite know what's up, but uses heal. Does have double buffs here, so has really powered through the jungle early on. Ro just went back, got his Trailblazer, and Dandy might just be waiting here.
Yeah, trying to see if anything will come. Maybe looking for the early gank. Ooh, has started up now. Needs to be careful because he headbutts the wall.
Yeah, no good there, but we'll come in here. But Ro's actually going to find him. Dandy maybe went a little too late there on the steal. Didn't even bother to check it if it was up to try and take it away. Walks past the ward there as well. Dandy, a bit unsuccessful in that counter jungle attempt.
Yeah, maybe looking to pick it up with a spear. Both the support players have rotated across as well, so this will be a contested buff if it is started up.
Yeah, I mean, Dandy sort of started this. He wants to finish it if he can, but Love City is going to join in there. Dandy now poking that in towards mid, but he's back in the jungle now. Mata going to join his friend there as well. Ro going to get the first knock up. Dark Binding in there as well. Black Shield is down, and Dandy going to do good damage. This is the Inspire following him, and a teleport coming in from empty already. Ro so low there, and Dandy can't quite get in spear range. Does headbutt another wall, gets Stock bound up, and he might pay for it. Candy going to come in looking for first one, but Looper's already in. Dade has rotated as well. Vasily blowing through people with the buckshot, and the heal gets popped in there as well. Now Carry comes in with a late tally, and that's Hatong. 3-man W there as well, but it's not quite enough yet. And this is a massive level 3 around the jungle, and no one is dead yet.
Yeah, that is absolutely huge, and Dandy is either the worst Nidalee I've ever seen or the master beta, because he headbutted 3 walls in that exchange, and then he had to blow his flash to get over the top.
Well, he got the blue buff still, and again, miraculously, no one has died there in that fight. That was the very standard, let's kind of counter jungle the double buff into 5-minute 5v5.
That was absolutely ridiculous pastry time. Just the amount of misplays that came out of Master3 and Vici in one lineup and no one diving. That was a miracle when going absolutely pear-shaped.
Yeah, Dandy almost dying to the Crux as well, but does manage to finish him off. Level 4 now, we'll head back into his shop and pick up his jungle out. And probably, no, does go for the turn smite there. Good Zenith play there onto Candy. Mata can't find the follow-up stun. Live City on point with a Black Shield.
Yeah, so what this did do, if we take a look at...
Ooh. Good flash there, Candy in trouble. Vasily looking for first blood, but Candy backs out of there, and he'll be safe just for long. First blood has not been so close already in this game. It hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, that was so close. The Flash and Valkyrie just able to get him out. The reason that went so far in Vici's favor, as we see actually Carry getting aggressed on.
Yep, Ro coming in here. Looper going to try and lock him up. Good flash there for Carry. No twisted advance, unfortunately, for Looper. I didn't want to pull the trigger near the turret, so Carry gets away first, but still denied.
Yes, still denied. And once again, the reason that jungle fight was so important for Vici is because both their mid and bottom lane were pushing. So huge waves crashed into the turrets, which just denied a lot of experience, put them in a fantastic position, and has led to huge creep scores in the mid lane and in the bottom lane going in favor of Vici.
Yeah, Vasily once again getting ahead here early on in this Graves. Doesn't quite have enough for the BF, so it's going to be close if he does want to go in for it, and he does actually have enough, so going to be going back and get that very strong first BF sword item for the big flat Eddie spike for Graves.
Yeah, and that's huge for Graves. Being able to take a BF sword versus a component of a Phage means that he is in the driver's seat of this lane, looking to really take it over, and I think that at this point, you have to be worried if you're Ro about that. You can't stick in the top lane.
So Donglo getting ulted there as well. The spells will follow him, but Dade getting it out. Dandy does not wait patiently enough for the spear. Ignites down, but Dade alive. First blood still not happening.
Yeah, and Dade does that extremely well, where he lets himself travel nearly the full length of his E and then Qs to get some further distance on that gap closer. Make sure that he gets over the other side of the map, able to avoid the game. But what that does mean is Dandy now can counter jungle the pants off Ro.
Yeah, and Dandy's been, again, looking more aggressive, both in last game and this one as well. And with the Nidalee, not looking for vision like with the Rek'Sai, but looking to take away the buffs. And we'll get the red buff. Looper, though, really sticking it to Carry there on the top side. Mini now can't really fight the tree.
Yeah, not able to go head-to-head, but his jungler is here for support.
Yeah, Dandy here as well. That was an amazing dodge to the spear, but he's still hunted. Good Q, though, for Looper. First blood still denied.
Yeah, so still not going to either side, but the CS advantage is starting to go in the favor of Vici across the board now. So if they can get rid of some of the pressure on the top lane, Carry will start to scale up nicely on that Nai. Has actually picked up a Vamp Scepter.
He has.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. I'm curious to see what Carry wants to do here. There's some next level Nai building going on.
So you normally see, especially against a double AP composition, which a Maokai and Azir generally is, them go for the Hex Drinker just because the shield scales so well and the AD to harass in lane. Like, it's a pretty logical build, but going for a Cutlass here, I don't know about that one.
Okay, we'll have to see how that works out. Maybe a Blade here coming through for Carries. Nah, but Vasily going to get aggressive again, forcing Candy out. And this was very familiar, unfortunately, for Candy. He's getting forced out of lane again. Vasily 20 CS ahead now.
Yeah, and it really was, I guess, a product of that blue buff invade that came through that put Carry in this, Candy in this position. So he needs to, I guess, show his patience in the matchup now, be able to farm under turret, get to level 6, and then just try and snipe some waves and get himself back in the game that way. He will have the advantage when that Trinity Force comes through. So if he's patient enough, even though he's behind, he will get an earlier spike.
Yeah, and that's what Candy has to be patient, like you said, and just really wait it out. Carry, though, maybe looks to get some harassed under this Maokai. Will brawl reasonably well, actually, at this point in the game, and Looper can look for his Catalyst probably into the Rod of Ages, excuse me, but Double Duran's not that effective right now. The build with the Catalyst doing decently in the early levels.
Oh, it certainly will in the early levels. It's just whether he can get tanky enough quickly enough with such a gold sink investment, as once again, Dandy now living in the jungle of Ro, trying to put as much pressure around the map as possible on this Nidalee pickup, and maybe that's what Vici are going for, just an early suffocating win.
Maybe there. Oh, Looper does get walloped up there. Carry just going to do some damage, and Ro is looking in for a lane gank now towards the top side of the map. Dandy nowhere to be seen to assist here. This time, Vasily does get the tower in the bottom lane meanwhile, and Dove going to rotate in, but he's going to take a little while longer on that game.
Yeah, and 10 minutes. That's an extremely early turret coming through. Couple that with, once again, a 20 CS lead and the first Dragon. 2 times in a row, Master3 junglers just being caught on the wrong side of the map, trying to gank Carry in the top lane.
Yeah, we saw Dandy do, I think, a level 3 Dragon on Nidalee in the game he played on earlier. So very aware of what Nidalee can do to Dragons. We'll move Vasily and Martyr in just to make it a little bit quicker, but a very quick Dragon that does a bit of a misplay there for Dandy. Carry can be in trouble. First blood is going to go to M3. They collect the prize.
Yeah, and it goes over onto the jungler, so he's going to be into his jungle item nice and early. Might even be able to pick up the turret here because it is relatively low. And if they are able to equalize the objectives, minus the Dragon, they're still in a fairly good position for what's been a pretty bad early game.
I mean, Ro had to get something out of that gank, given that he was giving up Dragon control basically by being on the top side of the map. So Looper does get the turret. He picks up the first blood as well. So good moves there from the new jungler actually coming in.
Yeah, it certainly is. And it equalizes the gold back out to where to the position where they're extremely comfortable in the matchup. Dade maybe falling a little bit further behind this game, but still is in a good position as Azir. He's going to scale up nicely. I guess, once again, the only real area of very big concern is that bottom lane. 66 CS to 101. That is huge for Vasily.
Yeah, and Vasily going again for that Bloodthirster. Wants to be even more aggressive in the early stages of the game here in Candy and Love City. Just trying to keep the minions further back here is Dade. Gonna get the interplay here as well. Dandy jumps in and Mata gets that kill. Teleport does come in, but it's cancelled. Not needed there for Looper.
Yeah, do not want to go into that. He was already dead. No point teleporting in. And once again, perfect pairing up of the jungler and support from Vici's lineup. Able to take out the mid laner. That's all the wave clear, so now they push in for the turret.
And you said already how Mata does like to roam around and leave Vasily to his own devices when he can. Vasily, 2 games in a row, has gotten a nice early lead for his lane, has been happy to be left alone. In fact, he's in the mid lane now with the Tog, and Mata going to take a second turret for Vici.
Yeah, so much better play out of Vici this time around. They're looking very controlled, invading onto the buffs. The tier pickup has worked wonders, and
Candy's in trouble. He's actually dead there. Dandy, great mechanics on the Nidalee. Solo's out that very low AD.
Yeah, so able to now pull the wave back as well. He's holding that, and once again, even more action.
Yeah, ulti there from Love City. Mata does flash the wall, though.
Yeah, so able to get away there. Really nice play from Dandy to hold the wave there for Vasily. Make sure he's augmenting the lead because the CS gap was closing from Candy, so taking him off the map, holding the wave, ensures that Vasily is going to keep ahead, and Dandy had already picked up some nice gold from that kill.
And we saw this a little bit from Dandy's Nidalee in yesterday's game as well. Even though Vici did suffer a loss there in this game, and that's of course still possible here as well, Dandy is always very aggressive, and he's actually going in for the steal. Can't get it though. did spear the buff, but wasn't quite in range to get in for the pounce or even the smite.
Yeah, so had to back away from that one. It would have been quite a miraculous smite if he could get in there, just because of the amount of CC that is being bought from a Jarvan and Azir, both with their ultimates up. So maybe even in his favor that he didn't go for that one. This looks like it's going to be a full Blade of the Ruined King on Carrion. That's a very expensive offensive item to commit on what is normally an all-tank line. Yeah,
that's true as well. So I'm curious to see how much more of a lead, if any, you can get here in the top side. Although Vici going to dive Paul Looper now. Ultimate is up here for Hetong, so the tree is in trouble.
Yeah, he certainly is. They look like they're rotating 4 members up there. Only the AD carry is still on the bottom side of the map. Once again, Dandy also took away the red buff, so that's another buff to his favor. Ro only being able to pick up the first one, next 2 going over to Dandy.
Yep, so Dandy continuing to counter jungle. We saw it in game 1 on the Rek'Sai. He's doing it again here on the Nidalee, and that's what I love about Dandy's Nidalee. He uses the damage that he gets and her strong early game power so well and so aggressively.
Yeah, it certainly looks like he's extremely comfortable going aggressive on the champion, which is, I guess, very, very good, because it means that they're taking the fight now to Master3. They're on the front foot, they're moving forward as a unit, and they look reasonably coordinated, Vici. So Master3 right now need to just gather back away. They don't have to fight anything for about 2 minutes. Maybe just give up the top turret, let the outer ring go out.
That's a very similar look to the last game here as well. M3 really got a lot of the stuff going around the mid-game fight. So M3 still have that option here. Dade's still on that Azir. Got his Athenes up as well. But Vici just look even more in control of the early game this time around. We've got Morel and Nomicon up for Hetong here as well. BT is also done for Graves. And Danny doing the same build he did yesterday, going for a Tear of the Goddess from the jungle.
Yeah, and he looks like he's going, committing to that build. Ooh, Looper might be in trouble.
I mean, Carry's going to take out the start. Dandy will join in. Love City's up here as well, though. Carry does wallop him in. Love City going to move in for the ult. He does exhaust that onto Carry there as well. But Dandy now going to come back in. Dade's here as well, though. Rose also jumped in, and Dandy just gets owned.
Yeah, that was an absolute truck ton of damage coming through there, just erasing him off the map. And Dade would have loved to pick up that kill, but even the assist is some much-needed gold. He's down in CS, and maybe a little bit of over-aggression coming through. Now Candy, though, needs to be careful.
Yeah, Candy going to get ulted up by Hetong. Hetong will follow in for good damage, and Candy nowhere to go, gets soloed out by Lissandra.
Yeah, that is double summoner spells, though, so a very big commitment from Hetong. Gets the heal in response, so it's not for nothing, and I guess he will take the kill at that point, because it's just keeping this Corki down, not even able to finish that Trinity Force as of yet.
Yeah, Trinity Force is not done. It's going to be 16 minutes soon here, so that is a big delay on that power spike for Candy. We mentioned it. It's important when he gets it, but at this point, it's going to be quite late.
Yeah, and if it's a Trinity Force to a BT Zeal, then it's not even the power spike that he's looking for. It really is getting to the point where 16 minutes into the game, he wanted that maybe 3 minutes ago, and this will be a very delayed build. And I am so surprised, Pastry Time, that is a full Blade of the Ruined King.
Yeah, Nas already finished it. Carry going in. The ulti does get flashed by Dade. Great player by both of those Korean players. And Hetong there going to push things in. Need to see Ladra done for Lissandra, so lots of wave clear ready to go.
Yeah, there certainly is. And the burst potential now coming out of Lissandra is absolutely huge for Hetong. Not to mention the persistent damage with that Morella, Nomicon, and blue buff running near max CDR there. And it looks like Dragon will be the focus here. I don't know if there's any way Masters3 can fight this.
Yeah, Vici already up a Dragon, I believe. Yeah, got it off Dandy in the early stages with all that Nidalee damage coming through, and they're going to rock him for the next one. M3 don't really want to fight here. Looper still charging up that Rod of Ages. Candy still looking for his big spike on the Trinity Force here, and I think that he's going to have to give it up. Dandy even throwing spears now.
Yeah, Dandy with the heat-seeking spears. That's 2 of 2 so far. Misses that last one, but unless they get a miracle team fight, there's just so many huge spikes. Needlessly large Rod on the side of Lissandra is the one to watch.
Yeah, and Carry's coming now as well. He is actually Mega Nut Carry. Going to go in over the top. Roy going to get thrown into the wall. And now Dandy going to try and follow him. But Carry sort of getting cut off by the Cataclysm. Dade cuts off the choke point. Dandy though will flash away. Roy going to try and find him. Looper gets to go into a Hetong as well. M3 trying to turn it around. Matza going down themselves. Roy gets the next kill. But the damage in Vasily is absolutely massive on the Graves. Does get the trade there. 2 for 2 actually in Vasily. Chasing him for the next one. Dandy trying to find his fist. Candy who's going to get low. Does go down to Nar though. Sorry, as Corki goes down. That was Maokai killing Graves. Carry now getting chased down. Dandy going in as well. And that's 5-3 Vici.
Yeah, Vici ended up coming out ahead in that one, and it was a very close team fight once again. Dandy able to stay on the back line and put out persistent damage. Vasily going absolutely massive, and that was just the items. Master3 honestly played that pretty damn well, and in the end just weren't able to get ahead in the team fight.
Yeah, really well, and Carry melted very quickly there with no tank items at all, except for the, I guess, the non-magic mantle he had. Didn't even have the Ruby Crystal in the last fight. Dandy gets low, but does get the blue buff. And we'll see that again.
Yeah, so let's take another look. Teleport comes through, and you look at Carry in the backline. If he was tanky, he would last so much longer. Probably lucky that Dade didn't hit that ultimate flush, because otherwise this would have been bad news. Love CD with a great ultimate, but Vasily, watch him fly over this wall here and just output so much damage. Able to dash over and aggress as well, allowed Dandy enough time to sit on the backline, able to get over in Cougar form and really clean up the fight. I thought here that Looper might have it with that passive coming through, but got the hyper proc, got the Nidalee pounce in there, and it was just game over.
Yeah, it's really weird for Carry with this blade, but he's almost preferred to be in Mini now in some stages because he does so much damage in Mini now, but you know, as Mega now, he kind of just gets it and uses his ulti. He's going to get tanky now. The blade will pay off if he's able to keep pace with the items and still be the tank, but that was a weird spot to be for Carries now.
Yeah, it certainly was, and it looks like Dade's been caught out in the mid lane one more time.
Yeah, Tong going to go in there. Dandy does it, the Black Shield, and that's going to last long enough there. Tong ulti, but the Black Shield wasn't quite off yet, and good moves there from Love CD to save his mid laner.
Yeah, so finally Dade gets a stroke of luck in there. Has been a little bit unlucky this game so far, and able to survive that Sun Turret as well. Good positioning to be able to, I guess, keep the mid laner safe. And across the board now, Vici look like they're really starting to tighten on. It's exactly what M3 want to be doing. And Mata continually clearing out these wards. Vision control firmly in Vici's favor. And don't know if there's much Master3 can do except for try and stall this one out and hope it gets to extremely late game.
I mean, M3 have shown a lot of proficiency in team fights, so that is not the worst strategy that they could opt for here, but Vici looking ahead in general map movement and rotations, objective control especially, has looked good, and although a lot of the lanes have looked even, despite Carry being ahead, and I guess Hetong being slightly ahead as well, bottom lane has not been one of those lanes. Candy did get his Trinity Force after the big Dragon fight, so loved all the extra gold he got, but Vasily is just screaming ahead now.
Yeah, he's an absolute monster, and we said that if it comes through at the time that the Zeal is finished up, it will be bad news as Lupa looks to get aggressive, then thinks maybe a little bit better of it, not as far ahead as he would like. And yeah, you're exactly right. He's at a good point now, Candy. He is in position where he's got those two nice items, those Sork Boots and the Trinity Force, but it's still 40 CS and a kill in the favor of Vasily, and that means that it's about a 1,500 gold lead. That's a whole BF sword.
Yeah, and Dandy has Seraphs, by the way, done already. They actually transformed that very quickly, so got a good pass by coming through with Nidalee. Curious to see where he goes next with his jungle build, but seems to favor this on his Nidalee early on.
Yeah, certainly looks like that is his preferred build. Picked it up before even the Magus, and wow, that spear.
Not bad there. Love City gets strung to 50% health there and walks pretty quickly away from the Tri-Bush.
Yeah, it doesn't want anything to do with that Nidalee at this point in the game, and I guess if Dandy can keep poking them away from objectives, they might just be able to snowball this one over the line before the hyper carry in Dade gets going.
And that's, I think, what a lot of what Nidalee comes try and do is get an edge early with her power and then really kind of run the team over in one way. It was poke for Kakao. Dandy, good smite though. Didn't quite get it, I don't think.
No, it does pick up the passive though, and that's always useful to have. And look at the trap line coming out. Able to get in position there. Might even be able to sweep out this pink ward. That's a huge win, even if he didn't pick up the Raptor camp.
Yeah, the Raptor set's really paying off there and be able to clean out that. No, not quite. Didn't clean it out, Dandy. Couldn't get the ward. Was defended valiantly there by M3, and they'll move in again. Wave clear coming through. Dandy poking off with spears, and Vici pretty split. They're actually kind of 1-2-1 with Mata roaming between the top and mid lane.
Yeah, Mata trying to overlap with Hetong, it looks like, trying to layer that CC that can come out of Lissandra Leona. And at this point in time, the reason that Carry's build is confusing me is they're trying to split push with him, but I actually think Corki wins the 1v1, which is not a good position if you're a top laner that committed to a Bladed Ruin King.
Well, we'll have to see how that works out, but I kind of agree with you there. Dade does hit a spear. The shield, I think he had there from the turret, yeah, helping him out a little bit against the poke. Sort of funny, actually, we didn't quite mention it, but those turrets, that's part of what that tier 2 turret buff is for.
Yeah, exactly right, to kill poke compositions pretty much, because if you are going to slow play with poke composition, you need to have that siege component, otherwise the shields keep storing up.
Carry here going to go in, actually seems to be handling just fine in the duel there against Candy, at least in the early stages of the game now.
Yeah.
Love City going in, does miss the mining, go good fingers there from Vasily to quick draw out of the way.
Yeah, the teleport actually came in, I believe, from Looper trying to get the flank, and that's all for naught now. Might even lose the bottom turret for it, so fantastic map movement coming out of Vici, recognizing when they were going aggressive.
And just some really strong play by Vici to keep control of all of these jungles and keep split pushing there. Dandy and Mata doing a great job keeping vision now, but Mata going in out onto Looper Row, very low there, but Vici trying to do damage. Dandy does get the hop this time and takes out Love City, and Vici just going in there. Dade bots him back. Vici flashes into the wall and gets knocked back by Azir. Then Carry gets the kill on Azir, able to clean that up. Mata low, but Candy will not get the kill. Looper actually going to get instead, but Vici blowing people up here on this Graves. Now Carry and Dandy moving back in. So much damage. Vici another kill.
Yeah, and Vici just escaping on so little health again. That's a clean ace coming through for Vici, and they look much better this time around. 8,000 gold lead at only 24 minutes in. They've controlled the game from start to finish.
Yeah, and utilizing the Nidalee pick so well in this mid-game as well. Just moving Dandy back and forth, throwing spears, like keeping people out of the jungle and then rotating through. Whenever they found a good fight, they got the pick and went in.
Yeah, and I think the important part is that they're using their CC to create threats and then using the melee form of the Nidalee to jump into the fight and cause havoc. You saw the assassination potential there with the reset from Pounce after the Hunter passive, able to take out the first target and then leap away from the fight.
Yeah, Dandy did a great job of resetting the terrain as well in the jungle area, making it very easy for this Nidalee to fight. She skirmishes fantastically in her home in the jungle, and that's going to be the third dragon there for Vici as well. Things looking very up now, 9,000 gold ahead.
Yeah, they're just absolute miles away, and I don't even know if it gets to 6 items, if actually Master3 outscales, so...
That was weird. They're going to win
Take
the
two.
Yeah, does get Hunter. They are going to go back in. Mata nails him with the ulti, and Dandy going to look in, does get the kill.
So Dandy apparently didn't see any of the skill shots the first time around and decided to still wander down the lane, pays for it with his life, and you have to think at this point, as I said, if this gets to perfectly even footing at 6 items, I still don't think Master3 have a better late game composition just because of all the CC that comes out of Vici's lineup, and they're playing this game like it's not going to get to that point regardless. 10,000 gold, 25 minutes, and you have to say a lot of that's on the jungle. 2,500 gold in favor of this jungle Nidalee.
Yeah, Dandy looking strong here. Not repeating the exact Nidalee performance, thankfully, but taking the champion again and having a much better outing this time around. Another turret falls there as they take the tier 2. That's all of the turrets, bar the inhibitor one's gone. And the next, of course, getting protected as well. But Vici might have moved into damage his inhib turret.
Oh, and that spear chunking out Candy. You really see what Dandy is doing with this pickup. If he can get himself a blue buff, which he has, it's going to be so hard to defend these ones. The shields are gone now, and the siege will continue.
I mean, one of the important things about jungle Nidalee is that you need to keep control of the opponent's map. Looper actually going to go and carry. Going to get moved back into the hops out. Is now meaning to Tong ult him. Vasily picks him off for collateral damage. And now Vici with a kill just going to keep pushing in.
Yeah, that means that they can keep going. Actually decide to back away from this, and they'll take the kill. Want to set up vision around the jungle, and I wouldn't be surprised if they want to take away all the resources as well. Dandy moving onto that red buff, sending Vasily to his own, and they've got complete control.
Yeah. And you can see Dandy ripping through the jungle creeps there as well, hopping over back and forth, just counter-jungling so much here on this Nidalee. And again, when you have control of the enemy jungler's Nidalee, you get to take all the buffs, you get yourself the blue buff as well. And Dandy, who loves to take control of the game, has really taken a hold of this one.
Yeah, 4-1-6, 10 of the 15 kill participations. He's looked pretty stellar after what was not a fantastic performance yesterday. So props to him for picking up the Nidalee jungle again, coming back to something he knew was strong on the patch and was working out, and building a team comp. I much prefer the Nidalee jungle if you take it later on in the draft and understand exactly what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, and I think Do or Dade is back in effect here. That is a Magi's in Azir's inventory, and that's usually the signal that Dade not feeling very good about the game.
Yeah, well, you know, if you're this far behind, the game's going to go one of 2 directions, steeply uphill or steeply downhill. So maybe even just saying, okay, guys, let's give it one last roll of the dice, try and put ourselves in a winning position, and just throw caution to the wind. Because at the end of the day, we mentioned the long season. That could even be better for morale than just slowly being starved out of these games.
Yeah, that's fair. Here is Dandy will get his own blue buff now as well. Seems to have priority there, which makes sense. He's really chugging those spears. Warding coming up for M3 now as well, trying to keep tabs on the jungle, but don't have a lot of jungle that they can move through here. Dandy is kind of taken over.
Yeah, and if you look at why Dandy is picking it up, it's because of all the cooldown reduction that's on Lissandra already, and then you look at the gold and he's actually ahead of his mid laner, so probably more of an AP threat at this point in the game. Will benefit from that blue buff greatly.
I mean, did just buy a straight up Zhonya's one his last pack, so yeah, looking pretty good here on this. Nidalee has so much potential. Zhonya's gives a great great amount of options to Nidalee as well, so Danny can get more aggressive when he wants to, and he's setting up traps around here as well. Does walk past the Pingle, gets nailed by a binding actually. Candy gonna go in, and that's an easy kill. Now Love City in trouble though, as Carry has dived in the back. The Looper though is coming around the side as well, and Candy trying to take Carry up there, but he's so tanky in Mega Knife. Dada gonna come back in. Vasily in trouble, gets ulted back towards him, but no, does ult him into the wall. Vasily though gets low, and Dada gets the kill. Majai stacking up here. Carry now trying to get out of the fight, but Hatong goes in there, gets the next kill, just rips through M3, and Hatong saves the day.
Yeah, the ace coming through. That's the, I guess, risk of sending Hatong to split push against Looper. Teleport on one, but not on Hatong. But in the end, meanders his way over to a team fight and cleans house.
Really did there on the Lissandra. We've seen such strong Lissandra play already in both games. It was Looper in game one here, and Hatong is really showing the strengths and limits of this champion in this one as well. That was one insane fight. And every time Lissandra gets into melee range, things go real bad.
Yeah, it certainly does. Just one of those champions, and once again, throwing the ultimate out in an area to get the AoE done. The damage is just so insane when you take into account that every one of her spells can hit all 5 members in a team fight, and you just see that when people stack up, it means bad news.
And that's what I love about Lissandra in this comp, especially to Vici. It doesn't just give synergy with Nidalee because of this being able to land spears from point blank range and helping pick and assassinate people, but Nidalee loves to fight and take over jungles, and Lissandra is very good in choke points. And Dade gonna get soloed out by the jungler. Goodbye.
Yeah, 100-0. Look at the assassination potential coming out of Dandy. That would have felt beautiful. There is no better feeling as a jungler than being able to kill solos 1v1.
Yeah, and Dade, a player who very much, veils his pride and his confidence in the game. But Madai stacks are ticking down now for him, unfortunately. Even going for a Rabadon's really trying to milk the all damage aspect, but Vici is just so far ahead.
Yeah, there's insane amounts ahead. 16,000 gold at 30 minutes into a game. Inhibitor turret in the top lane down. I don't even know if anyone can push that wave back from Master3. And they're rotating into the bottom lane to make matters worse. The furthest inhibitor away, they're looking to now siege up there.
Yeah, dragon up in 10 seconds, but Vici don't seem too concerned at this point. No dragons yet for M3, so going to be looking for one, but I don't think they're going to get a chance. Carry actually going to port his way in. They are going to try and fight Dade with some decent damage with the Sand Soldiers. Vici do have to be careful. They've got very short range carries here in this game, but M3 just cannot fight them.
Yeah, M3 just have to back away. That's 2 inhibitors down now. Double blue buff still up for the side of Vici, so they're just going to move into the middle lane, start sieging this one up. Unless there's a miracle catch coming through here, this might be lights out.
Well, we'll see what happens here. Dandy's going to continue huffing spears in. Does hit one, I think, onto Dade. Actually, you're going to go in deep. Going to try and make sure he cleans it up. Carry actually already in the middle there with Mata. Dandy just going to dive back in. Does get chunked up, but heals himself almost back to 50% health. And Dandy is going to keep rolling in. Doesn't really care. The minions going to attack those Nexus turrets now as well.
Yeah, so that's all 3 inhibitors down. That's a very hard game of turret defense coming through for Master3. Vici actually just retreat, pinging the Dragon and Baron, so want to just take everything off the map before they finish.
Yeah, trying to shut Master3 basically out of this game, and they're doing a very good job at it here in this one. Looper will clear out what he can, but super minions, especially double super minions, are pretty hard to defend, and Master3 can't leave the rest. Vasily actually is going to be on solo Dragon duty.
Yeah, so Vasily going over for the solo Dragon. Looks like they're just trying to bait the Baron here. Master3 rising to the occasion, looking to come out.
There we are, 4th Dragon, Hatong going in, Dade does get locked up by the ulti. Mata can't go over though, because of the Empress Divide, everybody getting trolled. And Dade does save himself. That was a very, oh my god, Vasily just blows him up off screen. And the spear just missing Love City. That would have been a kill. Dandy though will secure it instead for Vasily. There's the double coming through for Graves. Candy now could be in trouble. Dandy might just go all the way in.
Nah, so not choosing to follow that one through. It looks like that will be where the game finishes. And overall, maybe a close first game, but this second game was anything but.
Yeah, Looper in trouble, flashes back to his fountain, and Vici take it over M3. 2-0, steal the first game away, and they'll feel on top of the world to get 3 points in this series.
Yeah, certainly will, and it was a very well-earned 3 points in the end. Once again, that first game on a knife's edge, but the second one, they were so in control from start to finish. Let's take a look at a replay to see exactly how strong these guys were, because they were so far ahead. So if we roll this one out, this is where Dandy actually gets caught and blown up. If you can see, Hatong is in the bottom lane, so he can't teleport there, and Looper makes his way to the fight extremely early. So this is, in a sense, a 3v5. Rogue gets taken off the map, and Love CD tries to cut back. A really nice ult from Dade here. Gets Vasily on top of Candy, but all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Hetong comes through the hero. Fantastic ultimate through, just all of the damage going down. And with the Zhonya's Hourglass, made sure that he didn't follow. And that's really nice coordination and movements from VG, but they were just so far ahead.
I mean, they looked very in control of those games, and Dandy, the player we featured, back to King of the Jungle, maybe. There were two fantastically played jungle games. The steal at the end, of course, to make sure everyone's still reminded that he is the Prince of Thieves. And just such good play. The best jungle Nidalee game we've seen in the LPL.
Oh, 100% the best jungle Nidalee game. And I think the most impressive thing about Dandy is he did it in two different ways. As a control support style first time around, making sure he had vision, counter ganking. And then the second time, just outright brute aggression going off the chain.
Yeah, just so awesome. And another great day of LPL comes to an end. Of course, we're going to have it tomorrow. So please join us for our 4 matches to round out Week 5. But for myself, Spawn, Atlas, Papa Smithy, and our entire live production crew, you've been awesome. We'll see you tomorrow.